What up, Lex and Stacey? 3Somepodcast148. Hope everybody's doing well. Stacey and I are, I don't know, we've had about a 2-week hiatus here. So we are, getting caught up on things. But yesterday, kind of a whirlwind on the media front as Mr. Cohen took front and center with Congress. And I did not get to see a lot of it. I know you did. So I am thrilled to just be able to be the guy that gets to hear it from you, because I don't want to hear it from an unbiased source that I know is biased. I want to hear it from one I know is.
That would be me.
Yes.
No, I admit I recognize the man has already lied to Congress once. For Trump, he did this. I found him to be, he seemed credible. I recognize that people.
Whoop. I lost you.
All of this. What?
I lost you already.
What do you mean?
It cut out. I have to realize it just cut out, went dead.
Oh.
But we're good now. Anyway, continue.
Okay. So I took everything he said with a grain of salt, but I found him to be pretty credible, pretty sympathetic for the most part. He certainly strikes me as a man who has lost everything. And my personal philosophy is that you don't get much more honest when you have nothing to lose.
No, I was that guy about 5 years ago. Went from having everything to nothing, and you're very vulnerable. You really don't give a fuck, and you will pretty much tell it like it is.
Yeah. So I mean, he apologized. He apologized over and over again, and it was much more than just the, I'm sorry for my actions that hurt everybody. That fake standard PR apology. He said, I'm sorry. I did this to my wife. I did this to my kids. I as of yesterday, so the day before yesterday now when we're recording, he was disbarred. He will never be able to practice law again.
Wow.
Once he gets out of prison, he will have nothing. Now, one thing that the Republicans kept pushing and pressing, because it was so frustrating, because here he is. Ask questions. He's there to answer. I can't believe there's not a Republican out there who doesn't want to know some stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? All they did, anytime you could tell without looking at the screen to see what a name was, and if they had a D or an R next to their name, you could tell by their questions and what they were saying if they were Republican or Democrat. Republicans were like, "You're a liar, you're a liar, you're a liar, you're a big fat hairy liar. There's nothing you say we can believe." They did everything they could to discredit him. And, he kept saying, yeah, I'm going to prison for lying to you guys.
Yeah,
we all know that. We get this.
I've already admitted I'm a liar. How about you guys? Let's go down your fucking path and see what we can pull out.
And he would get flustered, and I don't mean flustered like lose his train of thought. Just, you could tell he was just getting frustrated. Like, yes, okay, I know I'm a liar, and you keep telling me this, but is there anything else that you can call me at this point? It was my sense. He didn't actually say that, but it was like, is there anything else you could use to degrade me and humiliate me with? So the Republicans were just absolutely on their path to like discredit him. They wanted to make sure everyone knew. They asked him specifically, do you have any book deals in the works? And he said no. He said, I have been contacted by pretty much everybody for a book deal, but I have not made any book deals. And they said, can you commit to us right now that you will, when you get out of prison, you will never, ever have a book deal? And he said, no, I can't say that. No. And odds are pretty good that once I get out of prison, yeah, I will have a book deal. Why? Because I'm unemployable at this point, and that's all he has, Why wouldn't he write a book? Omarosa wrote a fucking book. He should be able to write a book. You know what I mean? I don't hold that against him
But Omarosa got out. Omarosa saw what was being asked of her and expected of her, and
she
got
got
out.
fired. She was, if you believe some of the reports, she was forcibly, physically removed from the White House.
Yeah, she was, but
so she didn't get out. Had she not been fired, I betcha she'd still be there.
I don't know.
She is Kellyanne Conway.
I don't know, because I think that she had the gravy train with the husband, and she didn't have to suck any Trump dick. So
Because Jesus dick in Jacksonville.
Knowing her, though, if her bases are covered somewhere else, she will stick up for herself. Based on what I've seen over the 15 years she's been on TV, Omarosa is in it for Omarosa. And she does have an ego, and she doesn't like to be outstaged.
If that's the case, though, if that was the case, and she's as smart and as savvy as what you're saying
I'm not saying she's smart and savvy.
She would never have joined that administration to begin with.
I'm not saying she's smart and savvy. What I'm saying is Omarosa looks out for Omarosa.
And if that's the case, then she would never have joined that administration to begin with.
Why?
Would you? Seriously. All bullshit aside, would you go work in that White House now?
Well, my name didn't get made by Donald Trump. Hers did. So, maybe she felt an obligation, or maybe she felt this was a way to upstage her presence.
No, she keeps using him over and over again. How many times did he have to, I've never watched any of the Apprentice shows, but how many times was she on? She has this long-running relationship with him. She thinks he's good. She knows him better than you or I, or a lot of people. She knew what she was getting into. Had she not been fired, she would still be there. I think she knew he was good for her visibility, but it's quite. Well, what is her visibility now? What is she doing?
It's quite possible that it started going down a road that made her uncomfortable, and she was getting advice from people that aren't idiots, like her husband and the people around him. She brought her wedding party into the White House and had pictures taken in the Rose Garden without asking permission of anybody, including the Secret Service. Yeah, it's the Omarosa ego, That's what she was milking that for everything she could. That's what I'm saying. She would still be there. That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. She has a sense of entitlement. And she would still be there because she thinks she deserves to be. Because but whatever anyone thinks, it is the White House. It is the presidency. No matter how much Trump has shit all over that exclusivity, it's still the White House. It's still the most powerful office in the world at this moment, but not quite so much as it used to be. Yeah, so? Yeah. She'd still be there. And that means what to Omarosa? She'd still be there. It's power. What, so she could leave and, go be a preacher's wife in Jacksonville, Florida? No. Come on. It's not just a preacher's wife. This man has a lot of clout and money.
He's a preacher.
He's a preacher with a huge congregation that controls pretty much the southeast of the United States.
It's not the whole United States, though, is it?
Hey, listen, I'm just saying. When it comes to self-preservation, I hold Omarosa in pretty high esteem as to be able to keep hers. It's what matters the most to her.
Yes, that's why she had to be dragged out kicking and screaming physically from the building.
Yeah, that's fine. Whatever.
Anyway,
I'm just saying, you can't discount, the reason she left.
She got fired.
Yeah, got fired for what?
For being Omarosa, for coming to work two days a week, and for, again, bringing a wedding party, a huge freaking wedding party into the Rose Garden for wedding pictures that she didn't get the okay from for anybody.
So?
Well, you asked, those were the types of things that she got fired for.
It's the types of things she does. She has always.
And why would she give that up? Why would you give up a job where you only have to show up times a week if you want to? And she was getting like a pretty decent paycheck.
Because it's not The Apprentice. It's not a game show. She overstepped her boundaries and they escorted her off the property.
Yes. She wouldn't be gone if she hadn't been fired.
But
she was going to milk that as long as she could.
I'm just saying, while she's there, it doesn't mean she wasn't asked to do something that she deemed inappropriate.
What did she say? What all the stuff when what was it? She came back on Big Brother or something, and she's like, "It's so terrible. It's so terrible." She had her little cry thing, but did she actually ever say anything? No, because she had her book coming out, because that's where she was making her money. She knew she always had a book to fall back on. And going back to the original point, why would you take that away from Michael Cohen too? Especially because he is now unemployable. He can't practice law. His life is destroyed because he was stupid enough to protect Donald Trump. And this is what's happened to him. And he kept pointing that out to Republicans, too. It was pretty great, when they would sit there and tell him, what a liar he is and all this. And he's like, you know what? You guys are doing exactly the same thing that I did for 10 years. You're protecting Trump at all cost.
Yeah. But he's a liar.
He is. He's going to prison for it.
Mm-hmm.
Why would
What's the difference between him and Omarosa? I'm trying to discern the difference.
Well, one's not going to prison right now.
Mm-hmm. And that's a bad thing?
I think they both would still be there had they not been caught and or fired. Both of them are no longer in the Trump organization because that decision was made by other people, not their decision.
Agreed. But does it make them bad people?
I think anybody who chooses to work for Donald Trump is, at the very base of it all, yes, a pretty terrible person who's devoid of morals, of ethics, of character. Yes, I think that to work for Donald Trump, you are a terrible person. The worst.
Pretty much. I just, and I don't believe I'm saying this, but I really have more faith in the Omarosas and the Cohens of the world than I do for the people that are still working there.
Oh, again, as I said, I found Michael Cohen to be incredibly. You just felt for him, Again, he kept pointing out, "I've lost everything." He's lost his career. He's going to prison for 3 years. The Republicans kept asking him, by being here today, is this going to help you get a shorter sentence? And he was trying to explain, and, I was understanding what he was saying, but it just seemed like the Republicans are kind of not smart and weren't getting what he was saying. He was like, me being here today, speaking before Congress, is not helping me in any way. He said, now, I am helping, the Southern District of New York or whoever that is, with some other aspects of cases that they have going on. That's helping me. That will help me get a shorter sentence. But being here today, speaking before Congress and taking your abuse is not going to in any way shorten any sentencing for me.
Yeah. So he at this juncture is pretty much done testifying, right?
It was going to be 3 days of testimony, 2 days of closed door. Yesterday was the public. So I think today and tomorrow, or maybe it was
there was a day
Tuesday,
before
Wednesday, Thursday.
There was a day before the public day.
Okay, then there's another private day today too. So he's just when he leaves finally, his asshole is going to be just gaping from the reaming that he's gotten for 3 days.
Yeah,
Brett Kavanaugh didn't even have that.
He'll end up in the private sector when he gets out of prison. He's not going to be wanting for anything. He can go on the speaking circuit. He can do all kinds of stuff.
He can, yes. But it's certainly going to be different. And you know what? It's not going to last forever. Where as a lawyer, within normal circumstances, if you're a lawyer now, you have every opportunity to be a lawyer 20 years from now. Him having his book deal and his speaking circuits in 3 years does not mean in 20 years people are even going to remember who he is.
Yeah, but in 5 or 10 years, it can be made where he can, retake his bars and be a lawyer again.
There was a question that I found very interesting, and none of the pundits, and I didn't really watch a lot of other news after all this to see, so I don't know, but one of the questions that the Republicans kept asking him, was, the book deal and, or do you have a TV deal? What about a movie deal? Because he said that he's been approached for movie deals and such. Someone asked him, can you commit to us right now that when you get out of prison, you won't run for office in New York? And he said, I can't commit to that. And so my question is that where we are at now, where it is okay for a man who served 3 years in prison to run for office in New York State? And is that a thing? Do people do this? And are you able to run for office in other states?
Well, I guess we'll find out with Anthony Weiner, who just
he's at a halfway house right now.
Yeah. Instead of halfway to the White House, just a halfway house. That guy was on top of the Democratic mountain just 6 years ago. He was the next in line, the man everybody adored to be the next Democratic hopeful. And he's a fucking pedophile.
And a stupid one at that, because it was like the first time I think was just females. I don't think it was with underage girls. They were younger women, but they were just girls in like Twitter direct messages that were showing their titties and stuff. The second one, after all that happened, she was young. She was underage. Yeah. And that's the one, outside of even her being, underage, shame on him. At that point, he has a problem. I will give any guy a onesie, that you were just stupid, you got caught up in the moment, and if you get out of that scot-free.
You see, I won't. If you've ascended to that place to be a public figure and a public servant for the United States of America, no onesies. Because there's plenty of qualified good people out there that have that gene in them that parties and fucks up. We have enough people here that will not fuck up. That will take their Harvard education and not fucking blow it on a frat party or some sort of fucking online shit. So to me, you don't get a onesie. You're done.
Well, our president has gotten onesies, twosies, threesies, foursies, keep going. So I think that the American public has finally gotten to the point where we just don't give a shit. And I hate to say that. That makes me cringe inwardly. That we are just at a point in society and in history where it will be okay from now on to elect a guy who just got out of prison, that it's okay to elect a guy who has a rape on his record if that happens. I'm not saying anyone directly.
Keep in mind, everybody does give a shit. The thing is that
because if he did, Donald Trump would not have been elected president.
Let me finish.
Enough people didn't give a shit that he grabs pussies. Enough people don't give a shit that he, paid porn stars hush money with campaign funds. He doesn't. Enough people don't give a shit anymore. They looked at him and thought that asshole was the answer. So no, I don't have a lot of faith in other humans right now.
All right, now I don't want you to interrupt me here. I'm going to explain to you the way things work. And that is, people, when you have a guy like this that is, controlling so many zealots' minds right now, and what you have is a mentality where people sit back and wait for the fuck up because they know it's coming. In the meantime, they can't upset their boss at work who's heavily involved in this guy. They can't upset, the school teacher or principal that's heavily involved in this guy because it affects their kids. But sooner or later, the hole in the dike appears, and the walls start crumbling down, and then you see it completely get exposed and go away. I've seen it 4 or 5 times in my lifetime, and we're going to see it again. So it's people just aren't willing to rock the boat and take the sacrifice for all the others if they have the chance to do so, because we as people don't make it worth it for them to do so. So they bide their time, they wait their turn, and the turn is now. It's happening now. We're watching the beginnings of.
I'm so scared that that was another thing yesterday as I sat and watched this. In the back of my head, I just felt that, okay, what really is this accomplishing? Look at the Republicans. They are nobody asked him any questions. Wouldn't you want to know? Seriously, they didn't ask him any questions. They just belittled him about being a liar. And, there were the Democrats who asked questions. Some asked, the smart questions. You could actually tell who the prosecutors were. They were the ones that had their shit together, and they asked the questions, and they used their 5 minutes quickly, smartly, and, efficiently.
Because people that are in the know that pretty much know what's in that report. And from what I understand, it's so damaging and so filled with discrepancies that there's no fucking way he's going to skate on it. People that know are just watching politicians that are supporting this hang themselves. That's what's going on here.
But the people in power are still the Republicans. I mean, the Dems have the House, but even at this point now, the Supreme Court is tipped to Trump's side if anything had to go that far. That's what Kavanaugh's for, and that's why we really have to keep Ruth Bader Ginsburg alive for like another couple of years.
I'm just telling you, and listen. Listen, they've loaded up the Supreme Court with Republicans before, and you know what happened? At the end of their lives, they became more about the law than about their political affiliation. It just happens. Age just does that to people. And
I see it the other way. I see the older people get, the more set in their ways. I think that, a Democrat becomes more liberal. I think a Republican becomes more conservative the older you get. Just like those people, religious people, become so much more religious the older you get.
Oh, I see. I don't see that at all. I see the hardcore soften up, and I see the liberals become a little more educated about their side of things. I think it all balances out, and I think it ends up like it's supposed to, because in the end, all those people up there realize where they're sitting and who they're sitting there for, and they love the law. At the end of the day, they love the law more than they love the person who got them in there. Because usually when they become set in their ways and they're on the bench for a while, the person that put them in there is usually gone. And they just don't give a fuck. I have not been
okay, but this isn't going to help us now.
I have not
what you're talking about is still another 10-20 years from now. We need it now. And you can't tell me that in the next 2 years, and this is me just assuming that something happens in the next 2 years, that Brett Kavanaugh isn't going to remember, who fed him and gave him his primo place in history. He's not going to care about the law. He's going to care about loyalty and the purpose that he serves because of who put him there.
No, he's going to care about Brett Kavanaugh, and he's going to look back and realize what he went through to get in that fucking chair, and he doesn't have to care about that person anymore by the time there's a big decision on the line. So he'll make the right one. He doesn't give a fuck.
I hope you're right. I do.
Man, I watched Roberts do it. Like a year and a half after being put in there, he did it. I was. Yeah,
but he wasn't the party. I don't even remember now. So it couldn't have any scandals that were discovered while vetting him and everything during his confirmation process.
It was the Hillary emails. He fucking sided with her on them.
But again, he was, other than being a Bush choice, he didn't have any issues getting in, did he? As I said, I don't remember.
Yes, he did. The guy went through hell to get in there.
What were his, okay, Kavanaugh, we know, he likes beer.
They raked him over the fucking coals on inexperience, and he's too young, and he hasn't done enough, and the fucked up decisions he made.
Personal scandal. That wasn't him, having pictures of him in blackface or having pictures of him, sticking his dick in a sleeping woman's, mouth or something. Those were character issues that Kavanaugh has. Roberts, as far as I know, and right off the top of my head, I don't remember any of those types of character issues going on. Yes, I remember he went through a very nasty confirmation peer process. It was because everybody hated the fact that it was Bush's decision or choice, but he himself didn't have any more morality or ethical issues with himself. Am I right? Do I remember this correctly?
I don't know.
I don't want to use my internet right now to look it up.
I know all of them go through something, but the thing about him was that he made two controversial decisions that the Democrats kept pushing out there over and over and over again. I don't remember what they were, but they were questionable. They looked like bought and paid for decisions.
Right.
Is kind of the thing. But the first thing the guy does when he gets on the bench is he swings the other direction, when it came to the Hillary emails. And Trump was furious.
Right.
McConnell, furious. Because you remember what Roberts said? He said, neither one of you guys put me in here.
Oh, that's right. That wasn't that long ago. It's so hard. Our news cycles are just like, hitting you in the face every day. Yeah,
he looked him in the eye and went, I work for the American people. Neither one of you guys put me in here. You can't even ask me that question. I have no loyalty to any of these people. If anything, I'd have loyalty to Cheney and Bush, and they're gone. I remember it. It took him all of 3 years to do whatever the fuck he wants.
But again, Brett Kavanaugh, just because it's Trump's decision, his choice.
But because of the
saw
scumbag,
how he behaved.
I know, but because of the scumbag, they made him look like, Stacey. He
acted like a scumbag.
I know.
Did you see his reaction?
His first reaction.
Anyone sits there and says that females are irrational. The man was crying and getting hyper and just irate during his confirmation. If you can't contain your emotions, then holy shit, come on. If
you don't think that he's going to do a 180 the first chance he gets to negate that behavior, then you're not paying attention.
I hope you're right. But you know what? I have learned in the last 2 years now that when it comes to anything political here in the United States, nobody knows. Nobody has a fucking clue how things are going to turn out. We are in uncharted territory here, and it is affecting so many people, on a personal level, just with the depression. And you and I have talked about this. Do you know anyone who's happy right now? No, I don't. It has nothing to do with jobs, or anything. There is a dark cloud hanging over the people of the United States, and it affects almost everybody I know in some way, to some degree. Nobody is happy right now. And you know it too. You feel it. You've said so yourself.
Yeah, so?
So?
Yeah, so?
All right.
It's just the way it's always been.
No, people have been happy. This is different. If you can't feel it, and you know exactly what I mean, it's not the way it's always been. There is a feeling of hopelessness right now that is permeating everything. Unless you are a dumb fuck MAGA person who, is all me, and doesn't have the fortitude to look beyond, your own personal bubble to see what's happening with other people. If you lack all empathy and all compassion for others, then yeah, I suppose those assholes are happy. But the rest of the country, not so much.
See, to me, the obtuse people are the ones that are following Mitch McConnell down the rabbit hole.
How do you mean?
He's over, and to follow his agenda and what he says is a huge mistake for any one of those guys sitting up there to put their eggs in that basket. One of two things is going to happen.
We need more John McCain's.
One or two things is going to happen soon. That guy's either going to die or he's going to be voted out.
What is he, like 90?
Yeah, he's old. He's old as fuck.
They're all old, Chuck Grassley. And then they get all pissy with each other, and you see them like just bitching at each other, and they're all rah, 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 all jowly and
that's because they're in the chambers when shit's not going on. Going, how long do we have to follow this asshole?
I hope so.
At what point? At what point do we worry about our careers instead of his?
Yeah, I think they are worrying about their careers.
Damn fucking right they are.
This is what they think is best, and you know what? They don't care about what is right. They're doing it for themselves. That is the only way anybody would follow Donald Trump, is because it behooves them personally in some way, not because it is what's best and what is right for humans and people in this country.
Well,
I'm sorry.
If you're a good politician, you can do both.
Well, apparently there are none of those in the Republican Party. John McCain died.
Oh, there's a few more in there. You just have to look.
Who?
I don't know. But there's always a few. Not everybody's on that old fucking fossils board. There's always a younger, brighter, prettier,
and you know what?
smarter.
If that's the case, wouldn't you say that person, that moderate Republican right now, is sitting there somewhere in the party, piping up, chiming in, being the voice of reason that people so desperately need from the Republicans right now and aren't getting? Don't you think that this would be the golden moment for that person? If what you just said, like being the good politician, if you're a good politician, you know when to do it. And there should be someone rising up and saying something, being that voice of reason, and it's not happening. Because that person, at this point, I would vote for that person just to make sure that, the rest of the evil Republicans, just went the fuck away. But no, there's no Republican, no conservative opening their mouth and doing the right thing. Again, John McCain died. It's just terrible people. That's all that's left in the Republican Party. Terrible people.
Yeah, I think you'll be surprised.
I hope you're right.
Agenda always asserts itself. Don't worry.
I hope
when
you're right.
When the time is right for whoever that person is, you can count on it. It's human nature.
Again, you know what? I used to think, okay, good will win. Good will win. No, good isn't winning. Good isn't winning. Good is hanging on to the Republicans. And, I mean, bad, evil is,
Well, maybe good is fabricating right now. Maybe it's not the time for good to jump out and take advantage of this. Give it a chance.
Again,
but I promise
you're
you,
right, Lex.
I am right because I know human nature. I know out of 50 fucking people that there's at least 10 licking their fucking chops, waiting for this asshole to fuck it up.
That doesn't make them good. That makes them opportunists.
Mm-hmm. But
I don't know. Look, an opportunist is what we got in our fucking White House right now. The man, Michael Cohen, said yesterday, Donald Trump did not want to be president. He thought running for president would be the ultimate infomercial for his brand. This is who people voted for. It was a guy who thought that he wasn't going to win, and he just wanted to boost his brand. And by doing this would be, all kinds of oh my God. He didn't want to be president. He doesn't love this country. Do you realize he made Michael Cohen send threatening letters to his high school, to Donald Trump's high school, to his colleges, and to the college board, telling them that if anybody released his grades, Donald Trump's grades, they would go after them with everything they had. Donald Trump absolutely does not want everyone to see what his grades were, what his SAT score was, because he is a dumb fuck. The man is a fucking moron. Everybody knows this, except, those who are dumber than him. And he's just a fucking idiot.
My SAT scores weren't all that great, and I'm not a dumb fuck. Doesn't mean you're a dumb fuck. Sometimes to me it means that you weren't owned by school and your values were somewhere else. It doesn't make you stupid.
I think, though, that the school that he got into probably would not have appreciated, like, for anyone else's grades. I think it will be another one of those examples where Donnie's dad paid for him to go to a college that he wouldn't have gotten into by himself. Just like Donnie's daddy made sure that Donnie didn't go to Vietnam when everybody else did.
Yeah, I mean that's just part of political clout, though. That's just the way it is.
That had nothing to do with politics. That had everything to do with being a rich asshole.
Mm-hmm.
That was zero political. That was just being, the elitist that all these, MAGA people say they don't like.
Is that a cat in the background?
That would be the kitten. Tara, the goddess, yes.
Oh, Jesus. Broadcast professionals.
That we are.
Well, listen, we have about 7 or 8 minutes before I have to cut this episode short. But I want to talk about the Oscars. Did you see the clip of Bradley and Gaga?
Oh God, yes.
And
have you seen the movie?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I have not seen. I've read lots about the movie. I've seen interviews with the two of them, so I know I have a really good idea of like what it is and everything. But I've not actually seen it. But apparently, their chemistry, both on screen and off screen, you can't deny it.
Yeah. However, I'm trying to be objective, and their chemistry may be ultra professional. I think they have the same professional values as perfectionists and opportunists and just people that get it in general as far as maximizing the potential of whatever it is they're working on.
Right.
I don't think, and I did for a while. I really did. I thought maybe they might have been banging each other. But perfect timing there. And
that was just my phone. We've got 3 minutes left on the timer.
And I thought possibly they were banging each other, but after watching the performance the other night, I see two people that choreographed and figured out how to make a legendary performance stick forever at the Oscars. Nothing more, nothing less.
Agreed.
And after watching Bradley's girlfriend / fiance / wife, whatever she is, had there been any degree of chemistry, which I think a woman can pick up on quicker than anybody.
A woman also... knowing that like cameras are going to be on her face at the Oscars. Yeah. I don't care who you are. You're going to be an Academy Award worthy actress. By planting that fake smile on your face and clapping your little heart out, because by God, you are not going to let a billion people see your moment of misery.
No, but you know what? I don't think she was miserable.
I don't think so either.
I think she was on the page. Especially when I heard that Bradley actually choreographed the whole thing. He was the guy that put it all together. And after hearing that, I was like, oh man, they went for the gusto. I mean, this is a joke. This is a joke between the two of them to see just how much they could turn the music up on this.
And they did, and I say good for them.
And the look that she gave him at the end that I thought was a lustful, I'm so going to bone you tonight, I now feel was, oh my God, we pulled this off. Like, and after seeing her on Kimmel last night, when she just rolled her eyes about them doing each other, I just laughed because it's Gaga. She gets whatever she wants. She gets whatever reaction she wants out of people. Always has.
Right. I like her, and boy, she can sing.
Oh,
you know,
I fucking love her, man. And deep down inside is a regular fucking person there. She's as cool as it gets.
Well, considering she's never really acted before, and she was put into this movie and then like just knocked. Stephen Colbert actually said it best. And again, I haven't seen the movie, but he said to both Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga in interviews, he said when he was watching the movie, he said, I kept waiting for you to blow it, and you never did.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, they were great together. You can tell they'll be friends for life. I don't sense a romance thing at all. I sense two people that respect the fuck out of each other, especially after he wrote music with her and that's not his thing, and she acted with him and it's not her thing, and they made both of them look great. They both picked each other up by the bootstraps on the thing they do well, and they fucking pulled it off.
They're a perfect example of being able to pull the best out of the other person.
That's exactly it. And that was the exhilaration for both of them. But I don't think they're fucking anymore.
You know, you could tell from her when she would say things like, you know, I told him, you know, I'm so fucking proud of you. You know, those little things like that. You might say that to someone you love like once or twice, but you don't keep saying that. No. Not to someone you love, but, you know, to someone when you're really, truly proud of them, then you say it. And I, in my sad, pathetic existence, have found that, you know, you usually don't have that source of pride.
I the way they looked at each other, I think 2 years ago, they went out there on day one, you know, when they were doing this, and both of them said, I don't know if I can do this. You know, I don't know if I can fucking do this, man. You're the biggest pop star in the world, and you want me to do what with you?
And I'm not a singer. Well, she was saying, you know, the fact that, I mean, him going out there on stage, you know, she said, I wanted everyone to hear him sing live. You know, this is what she wanted. She wanted all of those Hollywood people sitting there and the audience on TV, you know, she wanted everyone to hear Bradley Cooper sing. This was like her goal. Mm-hmm.
Well, they, you know, I just have a feeling they'll be hanging out for life, you know, a couple times a year on vacations with their significant others, and that's about all.
The godparents of each other's children.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I got out of it now. So, you know, good for both of them. It was definitely one of the most exciting performances I've seen on a show like that in a long time. And good for them. And with that,
I agree.
Let's wrap this bitch up. Number 148. Stacey, great recap of Mr. Cohen yesterday. I feel informed now.
Mr. Snarky Pants.
No, I do. I'm not bullshitting you. Otherwise,
I would strongly suggest.
Otherwise, I would have went, nice job, Stacey. Woo!
Definitely watch like all of the late night shows tonight and last night and stuff.
I have them recorded, actually. I watched a couple of them and saw some of the footage. But yeah, when I get home today, I'm going to watch a bunch of those.
Seth Meyers' monologue is like 15 minutes long. And of course, Colbert's on vacation. I'm sure he's like, "Wah!" So. Well,
it's crazy stuff, man. But I will see you on number 149, my dear. Great job, and we'll see you next time on the 3Some Podcast.